Across the Pond.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode from Across the Pond. We're joined for a part 2 with Dr. Zsych. If you haven't listened to part 1, make sure you go and listen to that, guys. He's here today to discuss some otherworldly experiences he's had, some paranormal experiences, maybe what some of his neighbors have experienced that have been relayed to him that correspond with his own story. So, Dr. Zsych, welcome back to the show.
Hello. I'm glad to be back. So yeah, we
Fantastic.
how you been? How you doing?
Good. Fantastic.
Thanks.
But you did get cut off the last time, hence why we're doing, you know what, I do need a pun. Hence why we're doing a part 2. But yeah, so I think the last story you had was about this spear coming across the fields.
Yeah.
You know?
It was the
So I suppose you should start there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
Mhm.
it was completely, it was beyond anything I would have ever imagined I would see anywhere, let alone right over my house. Just flowing
Yeah.
right over my backyard. I can't imagine it was probably going much more than, I don't know, 80 miles an hour, maybe, 75. I mean, it's hard to say when things are in the air, they go slower, but it was just, it felt more like a drift, but it definitely had enough of a clip to feel like it was powered, and it was not being affected by
Mhm.
any of the crosswinds or any, I mean, the wind was definitely going against it. And that was, that was the real telltale on that. It's like, well, it's going against the wind, so it can't be being pushed by it. And I watched that go off into the horizon. It just kept going off towards the northwest, a little bit more towards the west, but in that
Mhm.
general direction, which is funny because it was heading essentially towards Phoenix. I don't know if you remember, we had those big Phoenix lights back in the day, which was just
Yes.
mad. I mean, it was crazy. We were up on our roofs, like seeing these things sitting over the mountain, and it was just they just kept turning. It was like the edge of something was just turning, and these lights would come from behind the mountain range and then go behind it, and it was just absolutely enormous. I mean, and then of course,
How many times did that happen?
well, we've had different things. We had that, and then the same night we had that flying boomerang that came through the valley, and it started way up north, coming in from like essentially Nevada, and it hit town after town. And
Yeah.
the thing is what was amazing to me about it was that not only did all kinds of people from all kinds of walks of life see it, our governor saw it, tried to do this little cover up and tried to like,
Wow.
oh ha ha, aliens and all this, did this big old press conference, and then he comes out later and is like, yeah, I saw it too. I watched the thing go right over my head, and we're like, what is wrong with you? You could have been a voice for the people, but no, you chickened out. Like, come on, man. But yeah,
You can't deny it.
and went all the way down to Tucson, and it was, what was wild about the description on that one is, one, it was like a boomerang. It was just this big flying V. It had these big circular lights, but everyone, and they had no way of knowing they'd be giving the same descriptions, which you know how hard it is to get witnesses to agree on anything. But they all gave the same description, mostly had the same number of lights, and they all claimed that it seemed translucent, as though they could see the stars and everything going through it.
Wow.
Or, I don't know. I wonder if it was more attributable to like kind of like a Predator cloaking device, or Star Trek, where you see a disturbance. It's like it's there, but you're not sure what you're looking at, which is still good enough. I mean, stealth, after all, is about just confusing you more than anything. But I mean, Arizona is just full of those kinds of stories. My uncle back in the day, he said that he used to sit out on his porch because he lived near the Air Force Base, and he like one summer, he said he was out there just enjoying the night air, and he's like, the damnedest thing, this light just comes straight down and parks right over the top of the air base, and he's like, pretty soon all the sirens start going off. He starts seeing all this commotion, vehicles, guys run. and then pretty soon, off they fire, launch
What?
two interceptors, zoom up. Just about the time they're getting in range, that thing goes either up or just zips off in the opposite direction from them. Just takes off like a bat out of hell. And it's gone. That's it. He's like out of sight. He has no idea. He's like, where the hell did that go? I mean, like in a blink. So he's like, they fly around for a while. They're doing the patrols, going back and forth. Eventually, they come on down. They land. Helmets off. Obviously, they go back in. They're like, okay, the sirens go off. The base goes back to calm. Whoosh! Here it comes again. And it did that over like a week or so, like 2 or 3 times a night. It would just set this base off, mess with them, and then take off. It would just split and then come back and do it again. And he was like, it was the damnedest thing. He's like, I thought for sure I'd see something in the paper, read about it, see it on TV, but he's like, nothing. No. They're like quiet.
Oh, they made sure. Yeah, it was locked down.
There was no. He's like only the people that lived around there ever saw what happened and talked about it. I met a electrician that worked for Salt River Project, and he was a lineman. He would go out and check on the towers, the transfer towers that carried the cables and all that. That would channel the power from the different dams that we have, that hydroelectric dams. And he said he got a call on his radio on his CB to go check out, and it was fairly up north. And so he goes up there figuring it's maybe a bird or something's like hit the line, or something some natural obstruction of some kind. He drives up there as he's winding back through, and this is off the beaten path. This isn't part of the normal, like it's utility access only roads. So he's driving through the roads, and as he's getting close, about the point where he's like, okay, I should be able to see the tower. I'm not close enough, to like do anything, but I'm close enough that I'll probably be able to see maybe what's going on there, like before it's, like another quarter mile before I get to it. But there's a clearing, and he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I get to that clearing, and I see what looks like possibly an airplane fuselage, boom, like right at the tower. And he's like, okay, this is going to be bad. This is probably people are hurt. Like maybe it's hung up. It looks like it might have crashed into the tower. It's like hung up in there. He goes around. He's like the next closest spot, which is still nowhere near enough to, to like really be on top of it. But it was a good clearing. He gets there and he's like, and then I saw the damnedest thing. He's like, it wasn't attached to the tower at all. He said, and it wasn't an airplane. He said, he's like, I swear on my life. He's like, it was a bona fide flying saucer parked right next to the power lines. It was obviously drawing energy from them, because we had a drop in the grid. And so it was obviously saying, he's like, if that wasn't enough, he was like, there was these little men on top of it, walking around and obviously doing what he would describe as, he said, my best guess is it looked like they were doing some sort of repairs. It was like some sort of pit stop or something. They were stealing from the power from the grid. And he's like, I don't know what to make of this, and I sure don't know what to say. Call back to to the head office about it. Try and describe it to them. And he says, I'm watching it, and at one point, one of them stops, looks over, stands up, and is staring right at me. And he's like, I got cold chills. He's like, oh, okay, maybe it's a good time to back up and take the truck the other way. He said, but then it went back to its work.
Exactly.
And he said he watched them for a little bit, and so he's like, well, they don't seem to be acting, so I'm going to try and get a little bit closer. He drove around. He said by the time he got to the next clearing, it was off like a shot. And this was up somewhere close to where we had that the logger thing with the fire in the they did the fire in the sky. They had the big thing back at about the same time, really about the same time frame. And he actually had mentioned that back then, that it was around the same area, which is also where that camp was that I was at. I was within about 30 minutes of the fire in the sky location. So that's like spooky central up there, and the forest and all that, up in like Payson and north of Payson, up the rim and all that. So there's lots of spooky fun to be had as far as aliens. And I mean, we see lights, like just like do odd things all the time flying over. I've done the satellite tracker to to be able to discern between, what is normal satellite activity.
Right. Okay.
And I've got that app, and I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
there's something. I'll be like, nope, no satellite. It's like, what the? It's not an airplane. But I've seen, and the most recent crazy thing I ever saw, um, was I was out looking at the night sky, and I saw a streak go from west to east almost instantaneous. It left a trail across the entire sky, and trailing behind it was a second one in a parallel course, separated by what would probably be,
What?
tens of miles from each other, as far as like like air traffic. And I'm like, it was whoosh, whoosh, and I'm like, what if it had just gone by and it had left no trace? I would have thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But there was these two trails that it left behind. It's the disturbance through the high cloud, it was like a really sort of, light sort of overcast, like high altitude sort of like blanket, and it just whoosh, whoosh. And I'm like,
Yes.
what in the beat all was that? I mean, I've never seen anything. I mean, if it moved any faster, I wouldn't have seen it. I mean, it was just above a blink, as far as being able to like actually perceive it, shoot across the sky, and then be followed instantly by another one. And I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
we don't have anything even remotely that fast. I mean, even the space shuttle, which would come in like around Mach 14, Mach 15 on re-entry. No, you'd still see that sucker cooking across the sky, kind of like meteorites and all that, shooting stars as they come in. As fast as you see something like that, and this was 2 or 3 times that speed. So it was obviously something powered or whatnot. It definitely wasn't a satellite because it wasn't skimming the atmosphere. It was the same colorization from when I saw it to when it left. I don't
Yeah.
know. Arizona, we're New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, some parts of Nevada. We're all kinds of spooky alien sort of stuff here. Lots of
I
traffic.
love it though.
Yeah, I
Do you
mean,
not try and get some photos or like some video footage and stuff? Because this is like gold for
I know
people
it's
in
like
the, conspiracy communities. I would love to get like a video or something like that or a
yeah, it's like,
photo.
well, the one I did have video of that too, that was over that mountain range in San Diego, and I had that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that camera we were on vacation. I'm taking lots of photos, and one of the places we went to was SeaWorld. And they did, my my situation demanded that get the camera, get a picture. And I'm like, and then sure enough, splashed, and the camera was
Yeah.
ruining it. And so I'm like, we just lost everything. I mean, you don't take a digital camera to a water park. I mean, at least not
No,
it's a Ziploc bag or something I should have had, but it was one of
I'm
those
not going
things.
to lie. Even I've seen things in the night sky and I've tried to take videos off it, and the
It's,
videos never are doing it justice. It just
it
doesn't
does.
look like what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, you
You're
really need
like,
some
you
super.
know,
You need
it's
some
very
professional
bizarre
cameras.
interference.
Yeah,
And
you need
yeah,
the
so
top notch stuff to get it really good.
yeah. So do you think, so from our last discussion, do you think that you've actually been abducted? Actually been abducted?
Um,
What do you think?
I'm scared to death that I have. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
freaked out. Knowing that I have this. I've obviously had repressed memories. That at least one has massively surfaced in a big way. I'm really concerned
Yeah.
that I know I'm feeling fairly. I've definitely seen something. I've definitely been visited. Um, I can't say that I ever had any of that sensation some people have reported of like feeling like they've lifted off their bed and floated out
Yeah.
somewhere, or ever. I don't have any recollection of being up in any sort of vessel. I don't know if I'm just being
Mhm.
observed or I have been. It's like if I've been whooshed up there, they've done a good job of knocking it out of my noggin. But I'm certain the fear factor makes me feel like that's a real possibility that they've zipped me up there, they beamed me up or whatever, what have you. And I definitely had points where
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't feeling like the bed, so I can't say that I was feeling like a floating, but I definitely did feel like I'm like I don't feel like that kind of weight that you feel like when you're laying on a mattress, that kind
Yeah.
of push factor. It's like it felt like I was on
Yes.
like too much of a cloud or something, and then but then it would be like right back into sleep mode. So I don't know. We've got
Mhm,
enough
mhm.
between three different families that I'm connected to of like unusual activity and people like with really wild stories. And I think if I'm as good a candidate as anybody.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, well, perfect. I was saying, let's get some of these people on the podcast with you at some point.
Yeah. Well, some of them they're
No, that would be pretty cool.
yeah. If I could
Oh, yes, yeah,
get
of
some of
course.
them back, yeah.
Mm,
Some of them aren't with us anymore,
mm,
unfortunately. But all I mean, the best ones are probably gone. Actually, I'm the last
really.
remaining, teller of their tales. Like
Last man standing.
my uncle, my father-in-law, who well, him out at he worked. He was a tower guard at Florence prison for decades, and he said,
Wow.
and he was like I said, I've talked about with people before that he was a really straight-laced guy. I mean, he's more like old western and like stuff like that. And but when it came to alien stuff, he was all into it, and it would seem like it was a personal vendetta with him. And he listened to like a radio
Really?
show. Yeah, he listened to like his AM radio conspiracy alien channel all the time. And he was like, and I had no idea any of this was going on until we got there was something on the TV, and he was all like, "Oh, this." It was all that aliens. He's like, you watch any of this? You know any of this?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're into this stuff? Wow.
Yeah.
Like, you're so not the guy. I mean,
Girl,
you're
let
the
me tell you
lost
my
guy.
story.
But he used to camp up there with his bro. He's in the same area as the loggers and all that.
Yeah.
And he used to go camping up there when he was a kid with his brother and his cousin. They'd go up there, and I mean, it was like all the time. And I'm like, okay, so you're in that same area, and that predates by a couple of decades. Me being up there. But he would be out
Uh-huh.
on the car, and he had all kinds of stories from things that he saw going across the desert, sitting out, just hovering, leaving, like a glow on the desert floor. I mean, it was just the prison and nothing for miles and miles and miles. And he's like, a helicopter. We've got helicopters come in here all the time. We can see them coming. We have them come in for prison transport, for this, that, and the other thing. We know the planes. We know the routes the aircrafts take. And he's like, even if it was a Harrier, which he was pretty, he was pretty good about his military stuff. He liked his military aircraft. He's like, the
Yeah.
Harrier is the only other thing besides the helicopters that could ever possibly hover, and that thing is a loud SOB. So you're gonna hear that for He's like, there's nothing to block the noise out in the desert. Anything way off, you're gonna hear it. And he's like, but I'd see these lights.
Yeah.
He's like, they would just come down, walk around, and then friggin' zip off. And he's like, he's like, every month I'd see something out there. It was like I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. It's like they've got something going on.
So have you had where it concerns now what we're thinking are otherworldly entities? Have you had any other experiences recently?
Recently, as far as recent as a few months back, I really felt like I woke up and I felt like something was wrong with the house and that something was amiss. And I kept feeling as I got up to check the house that that I would run into something. It felt like I was just around the wrong corner from wherever it was. And it was like just staying ahead of me. Like I woke up it's very quick, and I felt very panicked, and I felt like there's someone in the house. And I went, I didn't wake anybody else, but I went around and I'm checking all the rooms, and it feels like, it's like I kept, thinking it's like something fleeting out of the corner of your eye. It's like, wait, it's like, okay, wait, what was that? And I trailed that down. And the next, I went and I couldn't find anything, but the next day, the front door was like unbolted. The outside was locked up, which was really weird, but the inside was like,
Oh my God, that's so bizarre.
and then I found one of the windows was completely unlatched and like it's left like about an inch open, which summertime is not something. It's like, no, I battened down all the hatches. The windows have been closed like pretty much the entire summer. It's like it's like
Yes.
we don't really open anything up, and even when I do, it's just very solid and then lock, and then I've got a brace to put in there so that you can't like jimmy it open. So yeah, it's like I'm like, oh, okay, there's something definitely afoot. Something's tiptoeing around, tipping around during our sleep or something. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not surprised. Back in the day, it's more like, and so I don't know. I tried to like make it inconvenient. I'm so assured that we're kind of like at risk for that I do things like
Yeah.
I planted stuff and I've set stuff up. So it's like, if you're going to come in that way, it's going to be a pain, so they're not
Mm-hmm.
having an easy time of it. Could explain why a couple things were undone. It's like they started with one, they're like, nah, that'll make a lot of noise. Instead of like, like the way I've set it up, they're bound to like knock something over. I put things in the way of windows and stuff like that. It's like, it looks normal, but it's like if you're trying to come in, you're not going to see anything. It's kind of like you'll step down and you'll hit something. So it's that kind of stuff. But it's I don't know. It feels like I'd have to say yeah. On some level, I'm not
Yeah.
over this, and they're not done with whatever they're doing, and they're just gonna keep saying
Th-
ha. Like, they're like,
So this has been
and it's the same reaction to them that I did to my in-laws when they would just show up out of nowhere and just come knocking on the door. It's like,
Mhm.
oh God, no! Oh, wow,
So
why
like
are
this
you
has been
here?
going on consistently,
Yeah,
then since childhood, really, for you, hasn't it?
yeah. And then we've got
Yeah.
other things that go weird in the house, other things that, they're, I've always had like,
That you're thinking might be something else,
no, I think
as
I have a
opposed
couple
to
things.
like,
I
or you think
definitely
it's all
feel
the
like,
same thing.
yeah, there's like, I think something came with me from other locations, as far as,
Okay. Tell me more about that.
well, I definitely seem to be like, I don't know if I didn't understand for a long time, but people, I like looked into it, and the idea of like a person being haunted versus a location. And I definitely
Mm-hmm.
feel like I think that's one of the cases with me too, is that I definitely seem to have like something or some things that seem to follow me wherever I go. Because I remember when I
Mm-hmm.
first was checking out this particular location, it was like it felt so clean, it felt so good, it felt so lighted air. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is a nice, clean open. You could feel it. You could feel the energy. You could feel it's
Yeah.
clean. There's nothing oppressive. There's nothing here. And then not soon after, I'm set up. It's like I could feel it again. I'm like, it's like it's here. That same sort of like slight,
Same
like,
energy.
yeah, slight heaviness. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm like, this place didn't have that. So if it wasn't here, I had to have brought it with me somehow. And like I've always seen things, like little, ever since I was even a kid. One of the first houses that we ever moved into that I was really like in a paranormal way, like disturbed by, was the last house we were together as a family. That was the house that we all like. Frank, my father left, and yeah, everything got much more complicated. But I used to walk. There was this hallway, and I absolutely dreaded this hallway. I'd never had a problem with the hallway before, but this hallway was disturbing. It was always dark. It felt darker than it should be, no matter how many lights were on. It always
Yeah.
felt like somehow it was sucking the light out of the air. It just was darker than normal. And I used to sit in the living room, and I just see these things run across the floor right at the corner of the wall. And they'd go from the hallway out along this wall and then go into the kitchen. But they'd always seem to be
Mm-hmm.
peeking out. Like, is he watching? Is he watching? And when they were sure they had my attention, they'd stare at us.
Checking you can see them.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he can see us.
You know it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
they're shocked. They're as shocked as you.
yeah, so you start finding out, like, oh,
Yeah.
that little boy, he's like watching us instead of the TV. It's like he's watching us. So I'm like, I'd watch him. It happens so frequently. Yes,
Cheers.
it happens so frequently. I got like jaded by it. It was just like, Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. Do your thing. And that seemed like I swear they would do it more. It's like, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I don't really care. And they'd be like jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. Like it's almost like they'd stop. And I almost expected them to jump up and down, wave their little hands or something, like over here, see us, see what we're doing. And it's all I'd be like, whoa, and then they take off. It's like,
So what did they look like? Did they have any form to them, or tell me what described them to me?
I, they were like, I remember there was this movie, like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark back in the day, with these little like sort of
That's ringing a bell.
huh?
It's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
It's
They
ringing a
I
bell.
think
Yes.
Guillermo del Toro did a remake of it, and they were definitely grosser, but it was more like I remember seeing that not long after, and that kind of freaked me out because I'm like, I mean, I hadn't seen that up until then. I'd seen those things running around, and then I see that movie about those little creatures running around the house and sneaking around, locking people, and I'm like, oh my god.
I know what it is. The little fairy folk.
I
Too
don't know,
fairy.
yeah, they're like these little fairy, nasty, like I don't know. They don't. I mean, they didn't really
And they want to eat people.
trouble or anything, but they were there, and they just did their thing, and it was I don't know. After I saw that, then I was looking at vents. We had an attic, like a paw patch, to the crawl space in the attic in our bedroom closet. And I hated our closet.
Mm-hmm.
I hated the closet, and before I found that there was a door up in the ceiling of it. And then once I found the door, I was like, I'm like, okay, that's not good. And you would hear it. It was at night. I'd be asleep and I'd hear it, bah, 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 bah. like fumble. Like I'm like, all right, what the heck's up there? What are they doing? It's like they're messing with that door. I'm trying to sleep. I woke to feeling something walking on my back one night, something small, maybe either like a four-legged creature or a pair of something. And I didn't know what that was about. That was terrifying. It's just you feel these little feet, these little almost like paws or big like big wide feet, and they're just like bump bump bump, like they're walking single like up on your back. I mean, it couldn't have been more than that big or something. They didn't wail out, but I felt them like boop 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 boop. And it was like they're staring at the back of my head because I was on my stomach, laying on my stomach, and I'm like, I just jumped up and threw the cover. It was pitch black in the room, and I don't know where anything went, but I was just glad that like. And then I was just sitting up for the longest time. I was like, and I knew they had to have gone off the bed somewhere. It was a bunk bed. I was up on a top bunk, which meant they had to climb up to me. They had to climb up to my bunk. They could have gone after my sister. She was right down on the ground. She was so close. They'd rather come and visit me up on the top bed. It's like let's go talk to him.
They were visiting you because they know
I saw
that
them.
you
Yeah,
can see
my
them.
sister never saw anything.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Exactly. So they're coming. You're getting tortured, full on torture for that.
yeah, and she's oblivious. Of course, she was just kind of her own sort of like world, which was completely disconnected from any. It was she had a much more like I would say like a complete disconnect from anything
Like disassociated.
of all. Yeah, I mean, she just wasn't. There was nothing of anything that really, there's no real light in the eyes, sort of thing. Like no sense of any sort of awareness of anything going on around her. She was very, we had a situation like one time. I mean, her perception of reality was so obscured that we had this one thing where my parents had gotten home and there was something had went bad, and it was obviously we were trying to figure out who did what, and my parents asked me who did it, and I was like, well, Karen did it. Karen's the one who did it, and they're like, Karen, who did it? And she's like, well, he did it because he's holding the thing. And I'm like, because they're like, what was used to do this? So I went and got it. So she's like blaming me, and so my father very smartly was like something's not quite right with this girl. So he's like, Karen, I got a crayon. You see this, Karen? He's like, look at this crayon. She's like, yeah. And he's like, snaps it. And then he's like, here. He hands it to my mother. And he says, okay, who broke the crayon? Who broke the crayon, Karen? She's all, Mom did. He's like, I broke the chair, I broke the crib. It's
Oh,
like, I'm like, so she
bless.
was,
Yeah.
woo, I don't know, but like out there. I mean, I think I'm out there, but then I don't know. You think I'd be the crazy one, right? But
My siblings up me as well on the crazy.
I've seen I just like a month or so ago in this house. I mean, I've seen things, shadows, retreat into into the hallway. I've seen things go, peek around. But the worst one was recently. I saw this thing, and it literally peeked out from the hallway. And at first, I thought it was a kid. I thought it would. After like jumping up to go chase it down and seeing that there was nothing in the hallway and finding that nobody was even up. They were just all like laying down. I realized going back to
Yeah.
the hallway, like where it was up on the hallway is like 8 feet tall. I'm like, well, it was
Uh-huh.
just a foot or so down from the roof of that, which meant that this head I saw stick out from the hallway had to have been up about 6.5, 7 feet high. And there's nobody in this house, including myself, that's that tall
Uh-huh.
or could be standing on something that they could get
That
rid
that
of in that amount
that's
of
quite
time.
tall as well. Yeah.
But I had that.
So
The thing that was disturbing about it was the fact that it was dark, but it still had these large eyes. I remember the large eyes, but it was like it
yeah.
was playing with me. It's like it came around and it just was watching me. It waited until I finally looked over, and it was like kind of like the little like ha, and then zip. It's like it definitely like acknowledged it was waiting for me to look at it, and then once I did, then it's like catch me if you can, and it just bolted. And I'm like, that's the one that was. I mean, recently it's like That's a new one. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why or what brought that here. I probably. I don't. I on things like this sometimes. I mean, I've done some ghost hunting, and gone out and did like EVPs and stuff, and I tried not to bring anything back with
Yeah.
me, but you never know. I went to a place up north called the Grand Hotel in Jerome, and it's pretty infamous for all of its hauntings and all of the activity it has up there. And we managed to go on the off season, and we had the entire wing. Originally, the hotel was originally Jerome is an old mining town, and so the mining company, as per necessity, built their own hospital, and the hospital served
Yeah.
both, help if the miners had any accidents or any sort of medical problems, they would take them to the hospital. It also served the families of the miners. They claim that they actually had more births at the hospital than they did deaths, but both are very high numbers. And which was really
Yeah.
that was while we were there when the other people towards the end of our trip showed up for a tour. One of the ladies she was about 80 something. She was the last child actually born at the hotel, so it was actually a pretty cool trip. Yeah,
Wow.
she was actually on record, and it was her first trip back in a long, long time. But she's like, "Yeah, my name's in the
That's so
registry. I was
cool.
the last child born before the hospital was shut down." And then it sat abandoned for years and years until it was purchased and then renovated and turned into this
Taken
hotel.
over.
Yeah,
Wow.
with all this spooky activity. I mean, like the room we stayed in, the floors in the bathroom are the original surgical tile floors. So that's actually part of what was
Hmm.
the surgical theater back in the day. So that
Yes.
it definitely and I there's an elevator. There's all kinds of stories of different tragedies there. One of the more modern is the elevator, which the technician had gone down. There's a drop. It's about 4 feet down into where they've got a bunch of mechanism, and he went down there, and he thought he had killed the power on the unit. But unfortunately, what he's been
Yes.
doing is he'd been going down there working, going back up, testing it, and he'd done that so many times that the last time he forgot to actually shut off the power. And so he's down there,
Oh
and
my
commits to that
God.
once it goes all the way down, it goes all the way down. There's no kill
Yeah.
switch, especially the kill switch is your kill. And so the poor guy got pancaked down underneath there because there's almost no room
Uh-huh.
by the thing lands if it goes all the
Oh
way in.
dear.
So, but
Hmm.
yeah, I've got some EVPs from there. that are pretty cool. I don't know if you want to hear some of them. I could kind of play some of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely. I definitely want to hear the EVPs. Yeah, go for it, Dr. Psych. So, guys, just while we're waiting for Dr. Psych to get back with these EVPs, please do make sure, whatever platform you're on, that you subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you're hitting that notification bell. And Dr. Psych is back.
Hello. All right. So I've got a few things here. All right. So I'm gonna play.
Right, let's do this. Now, this I'm like, let me get closer.
I'll play this. This is the setup. This is what when I was leaving the recorder, everyone that had gone on the trip I instructed them. Like I said, we had there was nobody in the entire wing. So even though we were on the third floor, there was nobody in any of the floors above or below or any of the rooms entirely on that side of the hospital or basically, we had run of the place for a few days until the weekend came. But still to keep down on any sort of noise pollution from the party, I instructed everyone to like head out, go down and get down the hallway, and then I would go ahead and set up the recorder in the room because we wanted to catch stuff out while we were doing a ghost tour in the area. So I left this as an open. You can hear a little bit of the low voices. Those are actually the people down the hallway, and then they got quiet.
Okay.
But after they got quiet, this happened, and this is me standing within a foot or so of the recording device. And what you hear there is
I heard that.
There's three voices. The first one says, "We love you." And then there's, which is a female voice. Then there's a second male voice in between that says, "You loved him." And then the final, very strong female voice that says, "You loved him." And I can play it again if you'd like.
Yeah, please. Okay. Oh my gosh, Dr. Psych, well done capturing that, darling.
I've got some more.
Yeah.
I just grabbed some of the early clip. I can send these to you, so you can.
Yes, please, because I will sit there and I will slow them down.
I'm right there in the room, and I'm the only one, and I couldn't help but feel a little bit like this was personal. I'm the only one there. I'm like, who are they talking to? If they're talking to me, I mean, do I have an entourage? A spooky spectral?
Hey, you got fans, darling. I wouldn't be complaining about that.
Like, I only had fans, I guess. I don't know. But
exactly.
It's like, I'm glad they have my back, at least. Like the positive entry. Although it didn't stay very positive. This one is definitely a little menacing here. Here we go. That is the only thing is like it's either just a straight out growl or get out. A very gargle. I'll play it one more time for you.
The growls. I'm like,
I mean, this is.
We don't want to hear you growling. Just communicate.
I'm down the hall. I'm out. I'm definitely far away, and it just all of a sudden it's like.
I want a Dr. Psych. Send me them EVPs.
Yeah, I will. Now the next one.
I'm not joking. I'm gonna slow them down. Yeah. And go through them.
I'll send all these out. I'll go through the rest. I've got a whole disc.
Yeah.
I've got a whole disc that's just from start because we were gone for several hours and there's stuff all kinds of going on. And I'll go through and I'll go through all it. The next sound. This is a little over a 30-second clip. No one's there. No one's going to be there for a while. There's nobody on that side. There's no hospitality service. There's no nothing. All right. But you can clearly hear the bathroom door being open and closed repeatedly. You can hear maybe drawers or like cabinets. The entire room like lit up for a while, and even like you can maybe make out some footsteps. But I'm gonna play this now, and then slammed. Hold on, you'll do it again.
Oh my god, I'm getting full body goosebumps. To all our listeners, I hope you're really feeling this one. I just thought I heard a voice in that as well.
It's obviously annoying. And now the thing is, when we did all this, I didn't have a chance to review it in time. I didn't expect a lot from it, really. So we waited until we got back down in the valley to start sifting through it and recording
Yeah.
everything. The very next morning, though, not knowing any of this had gone on, the next morning there's us and another group, and we share the bathroom. It's a connecting bathroom, right? It's a large bathroom, but it's connecting, and it's kind of one of those first grabs, first dibs. Whoever gets in there locks the other side out, and then they've got the bathroom. So, in the morning, went to go to the bathroom, doors locked, and then I hear stuff, and I'm like, okay, obviously, I know who it probably is, and he's the early riser, and they're making all sorts of noise in there. You can hear the shower run at one time. You can hear the sink going on. It just goes on and on and on. And then eventually, there's a separate sort of connecting hallway that has like some storage and stuff in it, but you have a door. And so we open up the door to that, and when I do, I see that the door is open to the other side. And they hear me, and they're like, "Hey, you guys gonna be done in the bathroom anytime soon?" And we're like, "We're not in the bathroom. Who's over? Who's
Oh my
over?" I'm like, "We're locked out." And they're like, "No." Well,
oh my
I'm like, I
god.
thought it was so and so. And
That's
they're
what I
like,
meant to
"No,
say.
we took off to go get coffee and breakfast and stuff." And he left a while ago, and probably he's either got lost or got talking with someone. So I had to go into their side,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
sure enough, their side was unlocked. I go in there, and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
No, but
Oh
the
my
sink,
god.
but the thing was, the showers were dry. I'm like, where did this water go? I mean, I heard water running, but they're all bone dry. But we heard the clamming and all
I
this
would
stuff.
have.
Like, all right, I don't know what's going on.
And not
I mean,
not only that,
this is
not even just you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
spooky,
I
spooky
think
bathroom.
that's yeah, I wouldn't be using the but well, I'd probably use it, but I'd leave the
No, it
door
was
open or
definitely,
something. I wouldn't be locking
crazy.
myself in there. I'd be like, no way.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's so cool.
All right, now I got
Wow. So
one last
ghost
one for
hunting.
you
So
that I record.
oh yeah, no, please, yes, give it to
This
me.
one, it's two distinct words.
Mm-hmm.
Our best guess was one thing. I'll let you listen to it, but there's a bit of a gap. It says something,
Okay.
and then it says something again. And to us, it sounded like either a young woman or a child. But I'm gonna play this for you now.
Okay. All right.
I'll do that one more time.
I thought I had. Yeah, that's like a full-on conversation, though. That's like they're speaking.
Now this to us sounded like it said believe or help. It's either believe or help, and then me. So it seems like there's that gap. It's like
We have
yeah.
a lot. How long were you doing the ghost hunting for?
Um.
Like over the years?
Well,
Have you been doing this for years?
We did Rome a couple times. We went back. We went back. Second time wasn't so great. We were supposed to be in a very sort of popular and paranormally charged room that involved a unaliving scenario.
That's famous
Yeah,
and all of
that
this
one you're-
nonsense. Yeah. No.
No,
Don't listen to
it's-
that nonsense. Yeah, you go where you're feeling it. Yeah.
But it was also fairly busy.
Wow.
So, it's like anything we did capture was kind of, it's like, background noise and whatnot. Could have been some of the other people around. It was more centrally located room. So we kind of chucked that one up to probably a lot of people that stayed there. We're hearing other people making noises and just getting spooked out. We weren't able to have the isolation of it. But I've got definitely 2 or 3 hours of recordings from the first trip of the room, which I'll sift through and I'll get more than just the clips from it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to hear these. Like, I really, because I know that because there's a lot of interference as well, Dr. Zsych, between what we're having now. There's
also went to Tombstone, the famous western town in southern Arizona. And to Boothill, went to the Birdcage Theater, which a few different ghost shows have been to. We did a ghost tour at night, but there's so many people and so much chattering. It wasn't. I mean, we definitely saw some weird things, like going on. You might see like an orb here, stuff like that. There was definitely some weird photography, sort of,
Yeah.
things. There was a mining shaft that we kind of visited, and you could definitely hear some oddities like down in the ground. But for me, the most unusual and the most profound experience I had from there was from Boothill, which is the local cemetery. And the thing
Yeah.
about oh, what did I do? Ah, tremor.
It's fine.
Ah,
It's
we're
fine.
gonna do the whole
Don't worry.
structure
Don't worry.
over on this side, over on this side. Ah, Captain Kirk. Um,
Exactly.
was the cemetery at Boot Hill. And one thing a lot of people don't understand about, like, especially a lot of areas in Arizona, is the ground is called very
Hmm.
caliche, or it's just very baked hard. And to dig down in a lot of areas is near impossible. I mean, it's almost like
Wow.
trying to go through bedrock or something. It's so hard. And so on Boot Hill, when you go there, you're not going to see a normal cemetery where, you've got like just like flat area. There's no grass. It's all desert. It's all
Yeah.
very, very old. There's very rudimentary signs like two sticks put together for a cross or whatnot. Some named, some are nicer than others. But what you see is these rock
You mean
piles.
like actual graves?
They're rock piles. Okay, so what they
Oh,
did is
wow.
when someone would die, and usually they do it in advance because they know someone
Yeah.
was going to die, so they would prepare it. They could only dig down so deep, and they would basically be excavating rocks and caliche and all this other junk. But I mean, they could work all day just to get only so barely down there. And so then they would put the
Hmm.
body in with like a toe pincher coffin,
Hmm.
very very shallow, very tight fitting. It was only big enough for the person, and then they would just pile all that back up on top of them. So you have these big old mounds,
Yeah.
and you're literally inches away from the actual person, from the real deal, whoever it is, like Doc Holliday, or like like, well, Wyatt wasn't buried there, he moved away, but all these other guys, the Clampetts or whatnot, you could go there, you're literally inches away. But people, walking in, the second I walked through the gate, I felt this sort of forebodingness, this sort of sadness, this sort of dread. And I could see, like, as I watched people around, I mean, the fact that you had all these tourists and they're all there being just really downright disrespectful. It felt like the ground itself was angry from the mistreatment, and that, like, there was like
Uh-huh.
almost this sense of like, get out, you don't belong here, you don't risk it. I mean, as I was there longer, I felt like I was like, I definitely respected the place, and I was definitely trying to be, like, understanding of the loss of life, and the needless loss a lot of times. I mean, we're talking like when we were at the birdcage. You go in there and the history is written all over the walls. You could see all the different the bullet holes that were shot through the walls. And
Uh-huh.
although some of them were definitely just the guys like bang bang having a good time, many of them actually were documenting someone who was shot. It basically had passed through a
Yes.
person and then lodged it, and then the slugs were still there. They're still in the walls. They're not dug out or anything. So you can go there, you can look in, like, boom, they're still there. And so many of those guys, from gambling, from heated arguments, fights in the streets, the OK
Uh-huh.
Corral. I went to that. There wasn't a whole lot of the OK Corral. I think a lot of people expect that to be, sort of haunted, but I think most of the time the hauntings come from surprise of death. I mean, these kind of, all these men showed up at that location. They knew what was going down, and they knew, they had enough time
Yeah.
to understand their fate. So it didn't feel like there was anything particularly going on there. But Boot Hill, man, Boot Hill, that was suppressive, and it was definitely active. And I know there's people that talked about being there at night, and it's like it's even worse at night. It's just like you just,
Really?
yeah, and it's just like they really try to like keep people away from it. There's like there's people there kind of like watching it, because they're, if nothing else, they're afraid that, souvenir seekers, people will go there and try and like grave rob, even to today, try and grab something from their you
Oh,
know,
that's
like, yeah, from
disgusting.
history or
That
whatnot.
really is disgusting. Honestly,
Yeah, it is.
whether you're, you're past, whether you need your body or not, when
Right.
you're past, if people bury you respectfully with
Exactly.
items,
Yeah.
whether you need them or not, nobody should be touching them. That's disgusting.
And believe it or not,
Anyway, that's what
there
I
are
think about that.
people that live in yeah, and there are people who live in Tombstone.
Yeah.
A few of them that at the time that I went, were actually still related to some of the people that were buried at Boot Hill. I mean, the history is that alive down there that we still have residents that are related to some of those that were buried at that cemetery. So, you know, it's an
Yeah.
odd,
So
I mean, they don't bury anyone there now for modern, purposes, but but yeah, I was very moved by that location. I've been to many cemeteries, and they usually have kind of a general, like, serene experience if when you go them. They, kind of if they've been treated well.
looks pretty.
Yeah, there's a lot,
Yeah.
that kind of that solemnness, that sort of, guarded, reserve sort of, But this place was foreboding. It was like, please, just
Yeah.
stay out, stay away, don't come here. It's like it's been oversaturated with just, the most, just terrible kind of disrespecting, tourism. I think could possibly do. I mean, I saw kids, trying to grab at the racks and play with the racks on these things, or like walking up on top of them, like standing right on, like, it's like, get him down, you know. It's like there's someone's grave there, It's like, have some respect,
Yeah.
It's like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, it's like
It does. It makes me angry. Like, not angry, but just yeah, I just really don't agree with anyone touching things, especially in them type of circumstances.
absolutely.
It's got nothing to do with them. But yeah, it's a respect thing, really, isn't it? It would be different if they needed food to eat and survive, or water,
Right.
but it's not that, is it? It's items that they're, yeah. But anyway, before I start ranting about it,
A little good rant.
I'll stop myself. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Okay. Well. Yeah. Go on. We've got a little delay, guys. We've got a delay. That's why it's seeming somewhat. Me and Dr. Zsych are working on a 1 second delay, and that's a big delay in conversation.
It's like it's almost like you're Sandra Bullock and you're in gravity. You're out in space, and I'm down here in mission control. Like, what are you doing up there? Wait.
Hey.
Wait for response. Oh, there you are.
Funny.
Just gonna go around the dark side of the moon, and we'll be okay.
Don't get me started about that either. Cheers, lovely. So, yeah. So, apart from like all these experiences that you've been having, do you think? So everything you've been describing seems like different types of species, really, doesn't it? They're not all the same.
No.
We started off
I've seen
the first.
I've definitely seen some different specters, and I've had different experiences, like at the house that we moved into with the hallway and all that. I saw what I would consider a mostly full body apparition of an old man wearing like the farmers sort of like coveralls,
wow, like an actual human.
Yeah.
Like
And the thing was that we knew there was something off about that house. When we moved into it, we knew it had been owned originally by an old couple, but that they had rented out the front part of the house. They like sectioned it off, and they'd rented out the front part. And the last guys who were there were part of a biker gang. And when we moved in, the carpets had to be ripped out because the guys would there was like oil stains all over the carpet in the living room because they would literally bring their motorcycles.
They had their bikes in.
Yeah,
wow.
We really felt like we didn't know, but the sort of the gist that we got was that we got it under duress of sale. That for what the old couple had died, and we didn't know how. And we didn't know where.
Right.
But the house was incredibly cheap. It was that same
cheaper.
Oh, I'm gonna move into the greenhouse. Oh, it's so cheap.
Sorry.
Like, oh, this is
Yeah, well,
beautiful.
I don't think you were asking them questions at that time, Dr. Zsych.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I didn't know that was a trope back then. I had to watch a few more horror movies. I'm like, that's what happened with that house.
Yeah, oh my
I don't
gosh.
think, like we got into it. Yeah, because before then they moved us around a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, it was like a house a year we would move. And then we moved there. It's like, oh no, now we're stuck with this one. Of all the houses, we're stuck with the spooky one. But I had all sorts of things like tapping me on my shoulder. I turn around, there's nobody there. Hearing my name like regularly, all the time. Sometimes the tap and my name. Sometimes right in my ear. Sometimes at a distance, and I'd go
That's so
looking.
scary there, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm like looking for like who called for me, and there's like nobody there. Or if there'd be like maybe my mom, she'd be like, I didn't call for you. She'd be on the phone talking to somebody, and I knew she was like too far away. It wasn't. It was somewhere between me and her is where I heard it. One of the weirdest ones though is I was laying in bed, and I felt the energy of the room change, and it seemed like, I mean, this is Arizona. To say you feel a cold draft is a monumental thing. We don't really have those, and this wasn't an air conditioned house. This was evaporative cooling. Okay, it's like the small cooler. So and my room was really small. Where my bed was, it was really kind of closed up. But I felt like something was amiss. I felt like something was really off, and I had these kind of like curtains that were next to the bed, and I saw them kind of ruffle a little bit. And I'm like, that got my eye attention. And it seemed like it moved towards the end of my bed. And I'm like looking down there, and then I could feel something start this is a fairly raised bed at this time, but I felt something start at my feet. And
Something
it's like
nefarious.
it walked the length of me up through my head and then out through the wall. And I was like,
I'm already gone.
I could feel it. It was like, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's something walking through. I could feel that sort of that exchange of like some sort of like non-corporeal like sensation of something going. It's just like, well, I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, the chill, I mean, the sensation. I've never felt anything like it again. I used to get that kind of those sort of like goosebumps or cold chills, like up your spine thing all the time in that house for no reason. It'd just be somewhere. And I was like, it was like way more intense than any of those. I mean, I never had anything. It started at my toes, through my feet, through my calves, through my thighs, the hips, the torso, up through my chest, through my arms and my head. And it was just, I felt like I was immersed almost in like it was almost like being in water almost, but without the water. It's like you just feel like you're almost like being like immersed in some sort of fluid that's just not there.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I could describe it. Or some sort of like, I don't know, maybe like some sort of, I don't know, maybe some sort of plasma or something. I don't know. I didn't see any, but I definitely felt it. But I felt it. It's like it was aware of me, but it didn't really care about like one way or the other. It was kind of inert as far as that. It definitely felt like, but it was kind of like messing with me, I think, or I was just in its way. Like maybe where behind me was where it just needed to go, but it stayed right through me the whole length of the bed. But yeah, so I heard a baby. I was woken up to a baby crying one night, and I'm like, we don't have any babies in this house. Like, it's like, but it was distinct.
How old were you? How old were you around this
15.
time?
I was about 15. When that.
Oh, so you're almost an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So you're susceptible then, do you think?
Yeah.
Susceptible to energy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's
the delay again. That was longer than 1 second, Dr. Zsych.
I once saw. I remember I was over on the side of the house. And I definitely saw things come to the house, which was real. I didn't expect. I saw this sort of a shadow dart across the side yard from a wall. There was a wall between us and the neighbors, and it came out of the wall.
Yes.
Ran across, and then right through the wall of the house. And I mean, it was at night, but there was we had street lights and moonlight. I definitely saw, because looking down the side yard. I was looking towards the backyard. I could definitely see everything. And the thing that was great about
Mm-hmm.
that one is I wasn't alone. My cousin was with me. And I'm like, tell me, he's like, that you just saw that. I'm like, all right, yeah. And he's like, I saw it too. I'm like, he's like, that was the damnedest thing. And that's what got him curious about, like, he's like, what's going on there. Oh, I haven't been able to find the recordings. Not that there was any real voices, but I did, my very first EVP sort of session I ever did was at that house. It was my mother
Wow.
had moved out. I had moved back in. It was kind of functioning as kind of a caretaker of the house because she had remarried and moved in with her husband, and she wasn't sure what she wanted to do with it. So I was just sort
Mm-hmm.
of living there and working and just kind of keep an eye on the place. And the nights would get
Yeah.
very odd by myself. And I remember there was one night in particular that there was just something going on in the back of the house, and it felt really, really off. And the energies were really, really high and really, really negative. And the oppression just felt like I needed to get out of there and I needed to go. But my curiosity was just too great, right? So I went in the back and I had a different recorder. It was the old tape recorder, and it was sound activated.
Mm-hmm.
And I placed that back there, and I was like, I made a general announcement. I'm like, hey, I'm recording whatever you do, so have at it, but I'm taking off. Knock yourself out, have fun, party it up. I'm out. So I left, and I was gone until the next morning. I came back in, and surprisingly, like I said, it was a sound activated recorder. It had actually recorded quite a bit, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
you know, like,
Exactly.
so I started listening through it, and there's all manners of kind of just light groans in the background, and just definitely hear cabinets opening, doors, like what was there. But I mean, none of it that I could really. I'm like, if I'd had a camera in there, oh my god, we'd be having a
Yeah.
different
I,
conversation.
I was just literally thinking that exact
Yeah.
thing.
Oh my god. Because wait for this next one. This is the piece de resistance. I had a big swag lamp. It was a heavy base, and it had this
Mhm.
big pole that arched over and had this big stainless
Yeah.
steel globe, right?
Hmm.
And it had the light. And it was open at the bottom, so it would light up. It was really cool. I love this thing, and I had that over the couch, so it was behind the couch, hanging over it. I'd have it turned so it was sitting over the couch, so I could be there reading as you will. And so I had it right above the couch. And this was in the back of the house. And the recorder was like it was this sort of like wood bar that sat between the kitchen and the living room. So I'm going through this recording, and out of nowhere, I hear this thing. I'm like, ah. I mean, it's like someone like well, hammered a bell or something, like something like that. I'm like, what the hell could I mean? That not a noise I expected to hear. So I'm like, okay, I got to
Yeah.
investigate this. So I go into the back of the house. I'm looking all around for anything like maybe a pot fell off, the counter in the kitchen. I'm looking for anything. I'm just about to give up, and then a glint of something catches my eye on the couch. And I walked over, I looked down, I reach up, and I pick up a butter knife. I'm like, I don't remember a butter knife being on the couch last night because I looked
Well,
around
yeah.
everywhere. And I don't leave butter knives in the living room. And then I think what's above my head right now, what's above my head is that lamp. The lamp was pristine before. I look up right from where the knife is, the edge was pointing this direction. I'm looking at the knife, and I can see a dent in the side of my lamp. In the steel, this is fairly good gauge steel dome. And an arch or a dome inherently is strong to begin with. So denting that takes some force. That's not it. It's not just a
Yes.
dent. I can see there's a crease, and in the crease are the teeth marks from the knife.
Oh my gosh.
And I go and I'm like, there it is. I'm like, it took a knife from the kitchen drawer. So one of the noises I hear is a
Yeah.
drawer opening, and it picks up a knife from the kitchen drawer, and it took it into the living room, which is a good 20 feet worth of walking, and then threw it at force at my lap.
Yeah.
I'm like, message received. You hate my guts. I get it. That was my lamp.
It didn't like your lamp.
My clothes, my knife. I'm like, as fast as I can, I'm like, I'll make arrangements to move out or get somebody else in here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I told, I'm like, that's it. I'm done with that part of the house.
Oh my God.
Like, close that up. And it's like, you can have, it's like, we're just going to be like roomies, maybe. You stay on your side of the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing
it's the best.
was the old couple's house, and that's where I saw the old man. So I didn't know if it was like, yeah, was it the old man just
He was like, get out.
Yeah,
maybe.
In my house, get out of my house. This will show you, you know, like.
Yeah, because it's quite an aggressive show of force. So yes, maybe.
After a ghost fight, but he sure did. So. I'm like, I'm out.
Oh my God.
I'm done. No more. I'm like, yeah. So I was like, there's always been something there, you know, for sure. I mean, that was the biggest evidence of, I mean, to you know, that's right there with like Ghost. You know, Patrick Swayze, you know, like the crazy guy in the subway. You got to move it with your mind. You know, it's all up here now.
Yeah.
You know, boom, take it there, throw it at some guy's lap. You know, let him know who's boss. You know, like,
exactly. Exactly.
I was so mad about my lamp too. I'm like, I love that lamp. And then it's like, it's got this big old dent, and it's like the most obvious of sags on it. I can't do anything about it. I'm like, man, you know, could you have done something else? You know, like grabbed a pen, a piece of paper, written a strongly worded note. Get out,
exactly.
Get out of my house.
Yes, rather than like get out.
So, just get out. You know,
leave my home instead of ruining your lamp.
Like, all these choices, no, you brought knives into it and personal property. It's like, but yeah, that was so I definitely there's like a spectrum of my experience. I love you. We love you. I want to stab you with a butter knife. Getting very mixed messages from the spirit world here.
Oh my God. I think, you know, but you left that house, didn't you? You left that house. You've left that house now, yeah?
No, I did leave that house, yes. My mother eventually moved back in with her husband, and they lived there until she passed away. She passed away in the house. So I was really like, that was bittersweet, because I'm like, you know, it's like, I feel like, well, it's like, I hope she's not, you know, when you have a house that's haunted, I'm always, you know, like, I don't want my mom to be like somehow trapped in that house. You know, it's like.
But was she okay?
My mom had a very hard life. My mom had a very excuse me. She was actually she was born with a hole in her heart, and back then it was all experimental surgery, and she spent most of her childhood in a children's ward of a hospital where she saw them bring in from all around, all different states, children with the same condition. And she would get to know these kids, and then they go for surgery, and that would be it. She'd never, you know, she'd have to say goodbye. And she was like one of the few first surviving children of you know, like repair surgery for holes in, you know, for the hole, for that syndrome. And she made it most of her life, up until she was about 75, 76, with it. But they, unfortunately, they were going to be placing a new pacemaker with the shocker, sort of to restable the heartbeat, and you know, insurance, and all that dragged their feet long enough that we lost her. You know. It is what it is, but I hope she's. I had dreams. I don't know if you know about the phenomenon of, you know, like spirit dreams, kind of like in The Sixth Sense, where when you're kind of asleep, they can kind of come to you. You know, that sort of phenomenon. And I've had that happen a couple times with family members that had passed on. they visited me like right up, yeah. And my mother did that. She did that a few times, mostly trying to convince me to be kind to my sister, which is like,
Oh, wow.
well,
So,
you know,
so return conversation is not, hey, I love you, I miss you. It's make
anyway,
sure you're not
you know,
bullying your sister. That's
she
funny.
was
I
so
love
with
that.
her. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm like, it was, it's definitely like a very, you know, it's a very, you're a very aware dream. You're very like locked in. It's like a waking dream. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you're in a dreamscape, but this is all too real. Like you're very hyper aware of everything. It's more like being in a parallel universe almost. Like you just stepped into a world where that person isn't dead anymore. And they're like right there. You can talk to them, you
Yeah.
can hug them, you can touch them. And it's all very real. It's very viscerally there. It's, you're in the moment. And I mean, it's indistinguishable until you wait, and it's like, whoa, where the heck was, you know, where was, it's like some sort, I don't know, it's like, you know, maybe uh, an in between place where the two, you know, sort of that veil where the veil is thin and where we can kind of like, yeah, cross over, we can both meet up. But yeah, most of the time it was the last time I saw her though, which was really sad, was she wanted to let me know that she brought Jimmy with her, her husband, who I didn't know had died. I didn't even know it. She brought him for a visit, and he just wanted to say, "Hey, you know, I love you, man, and you know, I always appreciated, you know, you and all that, and you know, but me and your mom were good, and we're happy and all that." I'm like, wow, and I told everybody, I'm like, well, this is really freaky. I'm like, I don't think this last one. It felt really real, and then I find out later, because his son finally said, "Oh yeah, he passed away." And he had passed like right
Wow.
around the time he like right before I had that, you know, like right before I had the dream. So I'm like, whoa, like I didn't
You're
even
like,
know he was gone. And my mom brings him to me, and I mean, if I,
you're like, can you let me know when
he was
someone's
actually closer
going
to me than any of his
in
kids.
the area?
I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's that's spooky. You know, that's definitely
Well, that's
that's up there.
fantastic. It's actually a real gift as opposed to even spooky
You know,
to be
I,
susceptible to
I'll
these.
say as far as, you know, receive, yeah, it definitely feels like a gift when it happens for sure. You know, you know, it's like it gives you that closure you wouldn't have otherwise, where you can see that you know, that they're good, they're feeling good, they're happy, you know, everything's
Yeah,
fine, everything's settled, you know, everything's contented. Contentment is key. I always say that if you can live a life of contentment, you're aces, you know, because I mean, how many
that's
people you
it.
know,
Exactly.
yeah, how many people you know are really contented with their with their, you know, their current state, you know, whatever it is. I mean, you've got to live in contentment. I have to be you know, grateful and have gratitude for the good that's in my life. And if I'm not enjoying what this is right now, I'm not going to enjoy what comes down the road either. You know, so and you get
Exactly.
that feeling, you know, like they're definitely in that state of gratitude you know, contentedness, which is, you know, it's, you almost want to stay there with them, but you know, we're not invited yet, so gotta go back.
We're not invited. We're not invited to the party yet, you know. But Dr. Zsych, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. And obviously, you know,
I still appreciate
the
you having
phone
me
was
on.
dying. No, thank you. The phone was the phone the phone was, sorry guys, if you're watching it visually, you know. Anyway, the phone had died the last time, and I do appreciate you coming back on and
Absolutely.
finishing this conversation. And I know it's not going to be the last we hear from
We
you,
love you.
100%. And I want your spirit box recording sent to me. Okay. Is there anything you want to say to the listeners before you go? Anything at all?
um just, yeah, keep watching this lady skyrocket to the moon, to get,
Thank you.
you know, she passed Sandra Bullock on that way past gravity, out of Earth's reach, and she's just gonna be up in the stars, and we'll all have to appreciate her from the ground. There she is, Constellation Amanda. You know,
Oh, you're too
Rip me
funny.
the
Thank
sock.
you so much.
I'm
I
gonna,
appreciate
I'll have
that.
to
Thank
jump
you,
on
lovely.
one of those private rockets and try and like get up high enough and I can wave at you. I'm not sure. Hello.
Ah,
Hello.
oh, you're funny. Oh, you're good stuff. You really are. Brett, all right,
You
lovely.
suck.
Thank you so much. And and like I said, guys, thank you so much, guys, for listening today. And like I said, if you missed part 1, do make sure you go back and listen to it
No,
because it's
one,
very,
two.
very enlightening. And there is another, exactly 2 parts to this story. Make sure you listen to them both. And until next time, guys, take care.
This is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Across the pond.
This is a Fox News alert. The Epstein files have been released.
Across the pond.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening
Very serious.
now.